Have you ever felt like people see right through you, like they've already decided who you are, what you'll say, and how you'll react before you even open your mouth? That's not respect, that's predictability. And predictability kills power. The moment people think they've figured you out is the moment they stop paying attention. And when they stop paying attention, they stop valuing you. They stop listening, watching, and wondering. But here's the truth they won't tell you. The most magnetic people are the ones no one can quite figure out. The ones who move with purpose but without patterns. The ones who make others lean in, because they never know what's coming next. You weren't born to be a background character in someone else's script. You weren't made to live life in loops, saying the same things, showing up the same way, doing what's expected just to feel accepted. That's survival, not significance. And you're not here just to survive. You're here to lead, to influence, to break the mold so hard they forget what the mold even looked like. And to do that, you've got to master the art of being unpredictable, not chaotic, not careless, but intentional with your mystery, strategic with your silence, deliberate with your presence. Because when they can't predict you, they can't control you. And when they can't control you, they're forced to respect you. You see, unpredictability isn't about being fake. It's not about pretending. It's about becoming. It's about evolving so rapidly, so decisively that you refuse to be frozen in someone else's perception. It's choosing to show up as the most dynamic version of yourself. Because the moment people get too comfortable with who they think you are, they stop noticing who you're becoming. And if you don't take back that narrative, they'll keep rewriting it for you. They'll box you in, label you, limit you, until even you forget what you're capable of. But here's the shift. Once you tap into unpredictability, everything changes. People start leaning in. They pay attention again. They wonder about your next move. And in that space of wonder, you hold power. You hold attention. You hold momentum. And with momentum comes the ability to influence, to lead, to break cycles. You become unforgettable. Not because you shouted louder, but because you moved differently. That's what staying unpredictable does. It makes your presence a question mark in their minds. And people chase what they don't understand. So stay with this message, because by the time this is over, you'll walk differently. You'll speak differently. You'll respond, react, and rise with a mindset that commands attention without ever begging for it. This isn't about becoming someone else. This is about peeling back the parts of you that have been hidden under routines, habits, and expectations, and letting the world meet the unpredictable, unstoppable force you've always had inside you. Keep watching, because what's coming next will change how they see you and how you see yourself forever. People crave patterns. They crave certainty. And once they think they've figured you out, they place you in a mental drawer, shut it, and forget to open it again. That's how people lose their edge, not because they aren't talented, not because they aren't strong, but because they become predictable. The truth is, once they can anticipate your every word, every move, every reaction, you stop being someone they're drawn to. You become familiar, and familiarity breeds indifference. They stop listening not because you've lost value, but because they've convinced themselves there's nothing more to discover. And that is the silent death of your influence. To reclaim that influence, you must disrupt the pattern they've created around you. You have to become the person they can't pre-program. That doesn't mean you change who you are. It means you stop giving them the script. You stop handing over your emotional responses on autopilot. You stop letting your habits define your presence. Because once people feel they've decoded you, they stop engaging with the real you. They begin engaging only with the version they've built in their mind. But here's the truth. The mind only stays interested when it's being challenged, when it's surprised, when it's unsure. That's when people really see you. That's when they listen with curiosity instead of assumption. So ask yourself, when was the last time you made someone pause? When was the last time you did something that shook their expectations? Something so sharp, so decisive, that it forced them to see you in a new light? If it's been a while, you're not alone. Most people live on emotional repeat, but you weren't born for repetition. You were born for reinvention. Your power isn't in being easy to understand. It's in being impossible to ignore. And that only happens when you stop moving in loops and start moving with strategy, with intention, with controlled unpredictability. Let them wonder about your next move. Let them hesitate before they speak your name. Because mystery commands respect, not from fear, but from fascination. When they can't predict your steps, they become careful around your name. They speak with hesitation. They pause before they approach. That's the power you hold when you break the mold they've created for you. That's when you go from being observed to being studied, from background noise to the main event. It's not about ego, it's about elevation. It's about refusing to be decoded by people who never took the time to understand you in the first place. You don't owe anyone the comfort of being easy to read. What you owe yourself is the freedom to evolve without warning, the right to shift gears without explanation, and the strength to withhold just enough to keep the room leaning forward. Because when you stay predictable, they forget you. But when you keep them guessing, you stay unforgettable. This is where you stop being the echo of who you used to be. This is where you become the force no one saw coming. Predictability is a cage disguised as comfort. It convinces you that being consistent makes you dependable, that being easy to read makes you likable, but in reality, it strips you of your edge. It makes you manageable, not memorable. Because when people can read you like a book, they stop turning the pages. They think they know how the story ends. So they stop being curious, they stop paying attention, and eventually they stop respecting you. You become routine in their minds, and routine gets replaced. But unpredictability, that keeps you alive in the room long after you've left it. You've got to decide who you want to be. The person who's always there, always the same, always accepted but never admired, or the one who walks in and shifts the atmosphere, without trying, without noise, just presence. Unpredictable people don't demand attention. They command it. Not because they're loud, but because they're unclear. Because people don't know what to expect, they're forced to stay alert. They watch closer. They speak slower. They rethink how they engage with you. That's the difference. Predictability lowers your value because it removes the need to earn your presence. But when people can't predict you, they adjust themselves. That shift is power. Not just power over others, but power over your own life. You're not here to fit into someone's narrative. You're here to write your own. And the moment you stop following a pattern, you begin creating one. Your silence becomes strategy. Your actions become statements. Your growth becomes undeniable. People may not understand you, and that's the point. They're not supposed to. Understanding leads to control. And once they can control you, they no longer need to respect you. But when you remain a question, they have to treat you like an answer worth finding. That subtle difference rewrites how the world treats you. But this isn't just about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself. Because predictability doesn't just make you easy for others to figure out. It makes you forget who you are. You shrink. You simplify. You fall into loops that suffocate your potential. The danger isn't just external. It's internal. You stop exploring your depth. You stop challenging your voice. You start operating at half your power, all because it feels safe. But growth doesn't come from safety. Growth comes from tension, from surprise, from risk. And unpredictability keeps that fire alive. It's time to stop living in patterns that make you forgettable. It's time to disrupt yourself. Do the thing they'd never expect. Say the words they thought you were too afraid to say. Move in a way that shocks your own reflection. You don't become unforgettable by staying the same. You become unforgettable by becoming unexplainable. And when you choose that path, you won't just keep them guessing. You'll keep them watching, wondering, and forever trying to figure out how you became the version of yourself they never saw coming. They will label you to limit you. They will define you so they don't have to deal with the depth of you. And if you let them, you'll start performing the role they gave you instead of becoming the person you were meant to be. That's how people lose themselves, by choosing acceptance over authenticity. But there's a silent power in being misunderstood. When people can't quite figure you out, they watch longer. They lean in closer. Because the unknown carries weight. It commands attention. It unsettles their assumptions. And that's where your power lives, in the spaces where their certainty falls apart. You don't have to explain yourself to be respected. You don't have to be seen clearly to be felt deeply. In fact, the most dangerous presence in any room is the one that doesn't say much, doesn't show much, but somehow shifts everything. That presence is built on unpredictability, on the refusal to play small so others feel safe, on the courage to be more than what people expect. Most won't understand your silence. They won't understand your sudden shift, your distance, your growth. Let them sit with that confusion. Let them wonder. Because every time you move without explanation, you send a message. I'm not here to entertain your expectations. I'm here to evolve beyond them. This is how you protect your energy. You stop making yourself easy to access. You stop broadcasting your every thought, feeling, or move. You start treating your life like a strategy, not a spectacle. The more they know, the less they respect. But when you master the art of mystery, you create boundaries without having to draw lines. You create value without having to demand it. People don't chase what's obvious. They chase what's rare, what's uncertain, what they can't fully grasp. And when you become that, when you embody that level of control, you take back what's yours, your identity, your presence, your power. Unpredictability doesn't mean you're inconsistent. It means you're free. Free to shift, free to change, free to reinvent without permission. That's a freedom most people never taste, because they're too busy being who everyone expects them to be, but not you. You're not here to be comfortable. You're here to be unforgettable. You're here to be a force, and a true force doesn't move according to the crowd. It creates its own direction. So disrupt their image of you. Walk in differently, speak less, move smarter. Watch how fast their perception changes when you stop giving them access to every version of you they used to predict. This is the beginning of your rise. Not the loud kind, not the kind that needs to be seen, the kind that's felt, the kind that confuses comfort and forces attention, the kind that turns presence into power. You're no longer here to be predictable. You're here to be undeniable. Keep them guessing, not to play games but to stay in control. Control of your mind, control of your power, control of how the world remembers you. People don't fear what they understand. They fear what they can't predict. And when they can't predict you, they begin to question themselves. They replay your silence. They analyze your tone. They look for clues in your absence. Because mystery makes noise. Not the kind you hear, but the kind that echoes in the back of someone's mind. That's the advantage of unpredictability. You don't need to raise your voice to make an impact. You just have to disrupt the rhythm. Most people are addicted to patterns. They crave certainty. But when you move outside those patterns, you wake people up. You break their expectations. And in doing so, you break their control over you. You were never meant to be simple. You were meant to be multidimensional, evolving, layered. And yet somewhere along the way, you were taught to shrink, to make yourself easier to digest, easier to manage, easier to accept. But acceptance without respect is just submission. And you weren't born to submit. You were born to shift, to grow, to walk into a room and challenge the comfort others find in putting labels on you. Stop performing for their peace. Start becoming for your own power. Because when you choose unpredictability, you stop reacting to the world and start shaping it. This is how you take back your presence. You don't owe consistency to people who can't handle your growth. You don't owe stability to those who benefit from your silence. You owe yourself the right to evolve without permission. That evolution will make some people uncomfortable. Let it. Their comfort is not your responsibility. Your growth is. Every time you act outside of the role they placed you in, you take a step closer to your real identity. Not the version built for approval, but the one built for impact. Your silence is not emptiness. It's preparation. Your distance is not disinterest. It's power. Your unpredictability is not weakness. It's strategy. You don't need to be seen to make a difference. You don't need to explain your moves to validate their worth. What matters is not who understands you, but how you understand yourself. Clarity within creates mystery without. And mystery leads to respect, not because you hide, but because you refuse to be owned. This is not about games. This is about boundaries, about building a presence that demands attention through intention. When you master unpredictability, you shift from being observed to being studied, from being talked over to being talked about. You create silence so loud it drowns out their noise. And in that silence, you grow. In that space, you regain control. You don't have to match their energy. You don't have to meet their expectations. You only have to protect your own evolution. Let them wonder. Let them assume. Let them try to predict your next move. That's how you stay ahead. That's how you stay free. Because freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's being whoever you choose to become, without warning, without apology, and without limits. When you live predictably, you hand over your power without realizing it. Predictability makes you easy to read, easy to manipulate, and easy to ignore. People who thrive on control will exploit that. They learn your rhythms, your habits, your reactions, and use them against you. But unpredictability is a shield. It's a refusal to be a book they've already read. It's a way to keep your story unfolding on your own terms, page by page without spoilers. You protect your energy by never becoming predictable. You keep your mind sharp by challenging your own patterns. You keep your spirit alive by embracing change instead of fearing it. Unpredictability demands courage. It means stepping into the unknown within yourself. It means not relying on past versions of who you were to define who you will be. The people who predict you want you to be safe, comfortable, and small. But you were not made for safety, you were made for growth. Growth is messy. Growth is uncomfortable. Growth is unpredictable. When you lean into that discomfort, when you welcome the unknown within you, you become magnetic. You become someone who others don't just notice, they can't forget. Because unpredictability is attractive, it's a signal that you are alive, evolving, and not confined by anyone else's expectations. This is why unpredictability is a form of self-respect. It's saying no to living life on someone else's script. It's saying yes to your own narrative, even when that story confuses others. You don't owe explanations for your changes. You don't owe clarity to those who want to keep you boxed in. You owe yourself the freedom to be fluid, complex, and at times contradictory. That freedom is the soil where your true power grows. It is the foundation of your resilience. When you stay unpredictable, you are not hiding, you are revealing layers of strength they can't anticipate or control. People fear what they can't control, but you were never meant to be controlled. You were meant to challenge, disrupt, and transform. Your unpredictability is a declaration that you will not be contained, that you will not be tamed, that your path is yours alone, shaped by your evolving dreams, your shifting values, and your growing confidence. You don't have to follow their map. You can create your own. Every choice you make outside their expectations is a step toward your sovereignty. And sovereignty is the highest form of power. Let unpredictability be your compass. Let it guide you away from the familiar and into the extraordinary. The moment you stop trying to be understood by everyone is the moment you start truly living for yourself. That moment will be uncomfortable because it challenges the very foundation of approval you once sought. But it will also be liberating because it reconnects you with your raw, unfiltered self. The self that cannot be boxed, labeled, or predicted. The self that moves through the world on its own terms. That self is unstoppable. That self is unstoppable because it refuses to be owned. It refuses to be tamed. It refuses to be predictable. And in that refusal lies your ultimate freedom. The path to unpredictability is not about chaos. It's about intentional mystery. It's not about confusing others for the sake of confusion. It's about creating a presence that commands respect, because it refuses to be pinned down. When you become intentionally unpredictable, you reclaim your autonomy. You send a clear message. You are not a product to be dissected, a puzzle to be solved, or a person to be controlled. You are a force moving on your own rhythm, and that rhythm is sacred. It honors your growth, your moods, your dreams, and your boundaries. This rhythm is your invisible armor, guarding your energy and your peace. Unpredictability is a form of strategic silence. It means choosing what you reveal and what you keep close to your chest. It means cultivating patience with your own process and refusing to rush explanations or decisions. When you hold your cards close, you create a space where curiosity thrives. People want to know more, to understand the depths you protect. That curiosity gives you power. It shifts the balance away from them and back to you. You control the narrative by controlling what you share. And in that control lies freedom. Many fear unpredictability because it demands they step outside comfort zones, but true growth lives there. In discomfort, in uncertainty. The moment you stop fearing others' judgments is the moment you begin to live authentically. Authenticity, paired with unpredictability, is a magnetic combination. It attracts those who respect your complexity and repels those who seek simplicity at your expense. When you embrace this, you stop wasting energy trying to fit into boxes designed by others. You start shaping your own shape, evolving without apology. Unpredictability also sharpens your instincts. When you refuse to be predictable, you train yourself to listen deeply to your inner voice. You become more aware of your triggers, your desires, your limits. This awareness builds confidence, a quiet, unshakable kind that doesn't seek validation. Instead, it creates boundaries that protect your energy from draining influences. The unpredictable person is not impulsive, but deliberate. They move with intention, surprising others not by randomness, but by clarity of purpose that cannot be anticipated. Every time you break a pattern, you break the hold of the past. Patterns are the chains forged by habit, fear, and the need for approval. Breaking them is an act of rebellion and liberation. It's saying loudly without words that you are not defined by your history, your labels, or others' expectations. You are fluid, evolving, alive. That fluidity keeps you fresh, resilient, and endlessly fascinating. Not just to others, but most importantly, to yourself. Remember, Unpredictability is your power tool against stagnation. It keeps your mind sharp, your spirit restless, your life expanding. It's the quiet revolution you wage against the prison of predictability. And this revolution is not visible on the surface. It is felt deep within. It changes how you see yourself and how you let others see you. It grants you permission to be complex, to be enigmatic, to be exactly who you are, unapologetically unpredictable. This is your invitation to step into that power fully, to become the person who keeps the world guessing. Not because you hide, but because you choose to reveal yourself on your own terms. Unpredictability is more than a strategy. It is a mindset rooted in freedom and self-mastery. When you commit to being unpredictable, you reject the chains of conformity that weigh so many down. You embrace the freedom to change your mind, shift your path, and redefine yourself at any moment. This freedom is the essence of true power, because it is not dependent on anyone else's approval or expectations. It is power born from within, fueled by your courage to be fluid, complex, and unrestrained. This mindset liberates you from the fear of judgment and allows you to move through life with a boldness that others envy but cannot replicate. The power of unpredictability lies in its ability to disarm control. People who try to control you rely on patterns. They want to predict your moves, anticipate your responses, and manipulate your behavior. But when you become unpredictable, you become uncatchable. You refuse to be rehearsed or predictable. You keep your reactions fresh, your decisions flexible, and your presence ever-changing. This keeps others off balance. Not because you seek conflict, but because you claim your space to evolve without limits. You make it impossible for anyone to put you in a box or define your worth based on past versions of yourself. This is liberation, and it starts with the simple act of choosing unpredictability as your way forward. Living unpredictably also demands self-awareness. It requires you to know yourself deeply, your triggers, your desires, your boundaries, so you can choose when and how to reveal or withhold. This self-knowledge is your compass. Without it, unpredictability becomes chaos. With it, it becomes a refined art. When you master this art, you cultivate an aura of mystery that draws people in. They don't just see you, they sense the depths beneath the surface. That sensation is magnetic. It creates an emotional pull that words alone cannot explain. It makes others want to understand you, not to control you, but to respect the unique rhythm you live by. This rhythm is your sacred pulse. It beats to the cadence of your evolving dreams, your shifting priorities, and your growing confidence. It's a rhythm that refuses to be tamed or slowed down by the expectations of others. When you honor this rhythm, you honor your truth. And honoring your truth means embracing the discomfort of uncertainty. It means stepping into the unknown with a heart full of faith in yourself. It means accepting that not everyone will understand you, and that's okay. Your unpredictability is not a flaw, it is a fierce declaration of your authenticity. To stay unpredictable is to commit to ongoing transformation. It means you are never finished becoming who you are meant to be. Each day, you have the power to reinvent yourself, to surprise yourself, to challenge the limits you once believed were fixed. This ongoing evolution is your greatest strength. It keeps your spirit restless and your mind hungry. It prevents you from settling into complacency or allowing fear to dictate your choices. When you live this way, you don't just survive, you thrive. You become the person who keeps the world guessing, not out of confusion, but out of respect for the depth, mystery, and power that only you can wield. True unpredictability is born from a place of deep inner strength, not chaos or confusion. It is a deliberate choice to refuse predictability because you have mastered yourself. This mastery begins with owning your emotions. When you control your emotional responses, you create space between stimulus and reaction. This space is your power zone, where unpredictability takes root. It's where you decide how to respond, not out of habit or fear, but from intention and clarity. This means when others try to provoke you, push your buttons, or draw predictable reactions, you don't comply. Instead, you pause, breathe, and answer from a place of calm strength. This reaction is unexpected, and it disarms the chaos others may try to impose on you. Controlling your emotions does not mean suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. It means you honor them without letting them dictate your every move. This emotional discipline builds resilience. It teaches you to flow with life's unpredictable waves without being swallowed by them. When you practice this, you become the eye of the storm, calm, centered, and untouchable. This kind of emotional stability is magnetic because it is rare. People instinctively trust those who do not lose control, who show strength through composure, and who react thoughtfully rather than impulsively. This trust builds respect, and respect breeds influence. Influence is the currency of power that unpredictability demands. To remain unpredictable, you must also embrace the unknown with courage. Fear of uncertainty is one of the biggest barriers to change. It keeps many locked in repetitive patterns, known roles, and limiting beliefs. But unpredictability thrives on the edge of uncertainty. It requires you to be comfortable with not knowing every answer, not controlling every outcome, and sometimes stepping into the dark without a flashlight. This discomfort is where growth happens. It stretches your limits, expands your perspective, and reveals new possibilities. When you lean into the unknown, instead of retreating, you claim the power to shape your future rather than be shaped by it. This courage is more than just boldness. It is a quiet confidence rooted in self-belief. It is the knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way because your foundation is unshakable. This confidence is contagious. It influences how others perceive you and how you perceive yourself. When you act from this place, unpredictability becomes your shield and your sword. It protects you from manipulation and empowers you to cut through the noise of expectation. It gives you the freedom to innovate, to take risks, and to surprise even yourself. Being unpredictable also means guarding your energy fiercely. Energy is your most precious resource. When you allow others to drain it with predictable reactions, unnecessary drama, or emotional outbursts, you lose control of your power. Protecting your energy means choosing where to invest your focus and who deserves your attention. It means being selective about what you share and when you share it. This discretion creates mystery. It keeps others curious and invested because they never fully know what you will do next. Mystery fuels intrigue, and intrigue keeps you unpredictable in a world that craves predictability. When you combine emotional control, courage in the face of the unknown, and protection of your energy, you forge an unbreakable core. This core is the foundation of unpredictability. It is what makes you uncatchable, respected, and powerful beyond measure. You become a force not because you are erratic, but because you are deeply anchored in your strength, your values, and your vision. This force transforms how you live, how others see you, and how you shape your destiny. Embrace it fully, and watch how your world shifts in response. When you hold this unbreakable core, unpredictability becomes more than a tactic. It becomes a way of life. But this life demands constant renewal. Stagnation is the enemy of unpredictability. It sneaks in through routine, comfort, and complacency. When you settle into a predictable rhythm, you lose the spark that keeps others guessing. To stay unpredictable, you must embrace a mindset of continuous growth and evolution. This means relentlessly seeking new knowledge, new experiences, and new perspectives that challenge what you thought you knew about yourself and the world. Growth pushes you beyond your comfort zone, refreshing your energy and expanding your potential. The process of growth is not always easy. It requires vulnerability, the willingness to admit that you do not have all the answers. Vulnerability might feel like weakness, but it is the true source of strength. It allows you to connect deeply with yourself and others, breaking down the walls of predictability. When you expose your authentic self, you invite transformation. You become dynamic, fluid, and alive. This openness means you do not cling to fixed identities or roles. Instead, you allow yourself to shift and adapt naturally as life demands. This adaptability is the essence of unpredictability. It keeps you moving forward, always evolving, never stuck. True unpredictability also requires radical self-trust. Trusting yourself is the foundation on which all other strengths are built. When you doubt your choices or your instincts, you hesitate, second-guess, and become predictable in your hesitation. But when you trust yourself deeply, you act with clarity and conviction. You no longer seek external approval or validation to guide your decisions. This self-trust creates a powerful inner compass that directs you through uncertainty. It allows you to make bold moves that others cannot anticipate because you are anchored in your own truth, not the expectations of others. This self-trust fuels courage, and courage fuels action. Without action, unpredictability is just a concept. It must be lived out through bold, decisive moves that shake up the status quo. Taking action requires facing fear head-on and pushing beyond it. Every step you take into the unknown strengthens your confidence and adds layers to your unpredictability. Each choice to act with integrity and authenticity sends a clear message. You are not controlled by fear or routine. You are a force moving purposefully through life, shaping your path with intention and power. Yet, unpredictability is not chaos. It is not reckless or impulsive. It is strategic and deliberate. This balance comes from knowing when to reveal your hand and when to keep it close to your chest. It means choosing your moments carefully, so when you do act, your moves carry weight and surprise. This strategic unpredictability makes others lean in, trying to read you but never quite catching you. It builds suspense and intrigue, driving curiosity and respect. When people cannot predict your next move, they must pay attention. They must respect the power you hold quietly beneath the surface. This level of unpredictability demands discipline, mindfulness, and self-awareness. It means constantly checking in with yourself to ensure your actions align with your values and goals. It means being honest about your motives and intentions. When your inner world is clear, your outer actions naturally become unpredictable in the best way, because they are authentic, grounded, and purposeful. This authenticity is magnetic. It draws people in, holds their attention, and sets you apart in a world that often rewards conformity. To be truly unpredictable is to be truly free, and in that freedom lies your greatest strength. Every moment you choose to embrace unpredictability, you rewrite the rules of your existence. This is not a casual decision, it is a commitment to living fiercely, fully, and without apology. When you make this choice, you reject the chains of predictability that bind so many to safe, uninspired lives. You refuse to be boxed in by others' expectations, routines, or labels. Instead, you claim your power to surprise, to innovate, and to break free from the familiar patterns that dull the soul. This defiance is not reckless rebellion. It is a bold declaration of independence from anything that limits your growth or dims your light. Unpredictability becomes your shield and your sword. It protects you from being easily understood, manipulated, or controlled. When others cannot anticipate your actions, they cannot easily influence your path. This invisibility grants you the freedom to maneuver through life's challenges with agility and strength. It lets you keep your intentions guarded, your plans flexible, and your responses fluid. In this space of mystery, you become the author of your destiny, writing your story with bold strokes and unexpected twists. This freedom brings confidence, the kind that radiates from within and touches everything you do. Confidence born from unpredictability is deeply magnetic. It draws people not because you are loud or flashy, but because you embody a presence that is solid yet mysterious. This presence commands respect and inspires curiosity. When you move through the world unpredictably, you disrupt the ordinary. You challenge others to think differently, to question assumptions, and to engage more deeply with the moment. This disruption is a catalyst for transformation, not just for yourself, but for those around you. Your unpredictability can spark courage in others, inviting them to break free from their own limitations. To sustain this power, you must cultivate emotional resilience. The path of unpredictability is not without resistance. People may misunderstand you, resist your changes, or try to confine you back into familiar boxes, but each challenge is an opportunity to reinforce your inner strength. Resilience is the ability to face setbacks without losing your essence or momentum. It is the refusal to shrink in the face of opposition. Instead, you rise, stronger and clearer in your purpose. This resilience becomes the foundation that supports your ongoing unpredictability, allowing you to pivot and adapt without losing sight of who you are. Emotional resilience also deepens your self-awareness. It forces you to look honestly at your fears, your triggers, and your limits. This honest self-reflection is essential, because unpredictability thrives in the space of conscious choice. When you understand your inner landscape, you can navigate it skillfully, choosing when to hold back and when to leap forward. You learn to recognize the difference between impulsive reactions and intentional moves. This clarity sharpens your ability to surprise, not for the sake of chaos, but to create meaningful impact. Every action becomes a deliberate step in your journey of growth. This journey requires relentless courage. Courage to stand alone when necessary. Courage to break away from comfort. Courage to face the unknown without the safety net of predictability. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite it. Each time you choose unpredictability, you practice bravery. You push beyond fear's grasp and open yourself to the vast potential that lies beyond predictability. In this space, your life transforms. You become a living force of change, an uncontainable spirit moving freely toward your highest self. This transformation is the reward for those who dare to stay unpredictable, an unshakable power to create a life beyond anyone's expectations, including your own. The moment you decide to live unpredictably, you embrace a profound truth: control is an illusion, but influence is within your grasp. This realization shifts your entire perspective. You begin to understand that you cannot dictate every outcome, but you can shape your responses with intention and strength. This shift is liberating because it releases the burden of needing certainty in every step. Instead, you focus your energy on cultivating adaptability and presence. You become like water, fluid and unstoppable, moving around obstacles rather than against them. This fluidity is a source of power few ever tap into, yet it is the essence of true mastery over life's uncertainties. When you cultivate this mindset, fear loses its grip on you. Fear thrives in predictability because it knows where you will be, how you will react, and what will keep you stuck. Unpredictability dismantles fear's foundation. It makes you a moving target, unreachable by doubt and hesitation. Your unpredictability creates a dynamic space where fear cannot settle or grow roots. Instead of paralyzing you, fear becomes fuel, a signal that you are stepping beyond your comfort zone and into growth. This fuel energizes you, awakening a fierce determination to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. You learn to trust yourself more deeply, knowing that your resilience and clarity will guide you through any storm. This trust in yourself is not blind optimism, it is a grounded confidence built from experience and self-awareness. You recognize your strengths, your limits, and the areas where you can grow. This self-knowledge allows you to make deliberate choices that align with your true desires, not the expectations imposed by others or the pressure to conform. You stop seeking approval from the outside world because you are secure in your internal compass. This security breeds authenticity, and authenticity is magnetic. It attracts opportunities, relationships, and experiences that resonate with your highest self. When you live unpredictably, you no longer chase validation. You become a beacon for what is real and meaningful. To sustain this powerful state, you must develop a fierce commitment to your own evolution. Growth is not a one-time event, but a continuous process. Every day presents a choice: to stay stuck in old patterns, or to push beyond them into new territories of thought, emotion, and action. This commitment requires discipline, not the rigid kind that crushes creativity, but the kind that honors your purpose and keeps you aligned with your vision. It demands patience when progress feels slow and courage when facing setbacks. The promise of this commitment is a life filled with purpose, passion, and impact. A life where you are not a passive observer but an active creator. This creation comes from a place of deep presence. To live unpredictably is to be fully here, fully engaged with the moment, and fully aware of the infinite possibilities around you. Presence sharpens your intuition, heightens your awareness, and deepens your connection to yourself and others. It helps you recognize opportunities that others miss and empowers you to respond with clarity and courage. This presence transforms fear into curiosity, resistance into openness, and uncertainty into potential. Each moment becomes an invitation to step into your power and rewrite the story of who you are and what you can become. Living unpredictably is not about chaos or recklessness. It is about reclaiming your freedom, igniting your creativity, and mastering the art of transformation. It is a radical act of self-love and self-respect that demands you stand tall, break molds, and forge your own path. The power of unpredictability lies in its ability to keep you evolving, growing, and shining in ways you never imagined possible. This power is yours, waiting to be claimed. The question is, will you dare to live it? There is a profound freedom in releasing the need to control how your life unfolds. This freedom is not found in chaos, but in the clarity that comes when you surrender to the flow of your own evolution. The moment you stop resisting what is, you open the door to infinite possibility. Resistance is a silent prison built from fear and doubt, but surrender is a bold declaration of trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the process, trust in the unseen forces working in your favor. When you choose surrender, you reclaim your power not by forcing outcomes, but by aligning with your highest truth and moving intentionally toward it. This alignment becomes your compass, your source of unwavering strength. To live aligned is to live with purpose that transcends external validation. It is a call to act from the deepest place within you, where your authentic desires dwell untouched by fear or expectation. This purpose is not a distant goal, but a living, breathing energy that guides every step you take. When you move from this place, you create a resonance that attracts what you need: people, opportunities, resources, all drawn to your unwavering clarity and conviction. This magnetic force transforms your reality, It turns obstacles into stepping stones and challenges into catalysts. Your life becomes a testament to the power of intentional living. Intentional living demands courage. Courage to face discomfort, uncertainty, and the unknown parts of yourself that have been hidden away. It asks you to confront the stories you tell yourself, stories that limit your potential and keep you trapped in familiar patterns. These stories are not facts, they are beliefs, and beliefs can be changed. By shining light on these shadows, you weaken their hold and open space for new narratives rooted in possibility and growth. This transformation is not easy. It requires honesty, vulnerability, and relentless commitment. But it is the path to true freedom. Your inner world shapes your outer world with unmatched precision. Every thought, emotion, and belief sends ripples into your reality. This is why mastery of your mind is paramount. Mastery does not mean suppression, but conscious awareness and deliberate choice. It means recognizing destructive patterns and choosing new ways of thinking that elevate and empower you. This mental discipline builds resilience, allowing you to navigate setbacks without losing sight of your vision. It fuels persistence when obstacles arise and sustains hope when the path feels dark. Through this mastery, you become the architect of your destiny, designing a life that reflects your deepest values and highest aspirations. The power to change lies within your hands, waiting to be activated by your willingness to step fully into your own greatness. It begins with a decision, a commitment to no longer settle for less than you deserve. This decision ignites a fire within that burns away complacency and sparks relentless action. Action fueled not by obligation, but by passion and clarity. Each small step forward compounds into momentum, breaking down barriers and building new possibilities. This momentum is unstoppable because it is rooted in your authentic self, grounded in your purpose, and propelled by your unwavering belief in what is possible. You are capable of profound transformation, not someday, but now. The power to shape your future, to rewrite your story, and to live a life of extraordinary impact resides within you. It is awakened by courage, sustained by clarity, and expressed through relentless action. Choose to claim this power today. Choose to live intentionally, authentically, and boldly. The life you desire is not a distant dream, but a present reality waiting for you to step into it. The only question that remains is whether you will rise to meet your own greatness. Every moment holds the potential for radical rebirth, a chance to shed old limitations and rise into new heights of possibility. This power is not reserved for the extraordinary. It pulses within you, quietly waiting to be claimed. The struggle to overcome is real, but it is the struggle itself that forges the strongest souls. There is no transformation without resistance, no victory without battle. The pain you feel today is the crucible in which your future strength is forged. Embrace it, for it is not your enemy but your ally. The very forces that challenge you are sculpting you into a being capable of greatness beyond your current vision. Fear is a natural companion on this journey, but it does not have to be your master. When fear rises, recognize it as a signal that you are standing at the edge of growth. Do not retreat, lean into it. Each step taken through fear expands your capacity to live fully and authentically. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. This decision must become your daily practice, a non-negotiable commitment to yourself. The more you practice courage, the more it becomes a part of who you are. You become someone who refuses to be defined by circumstance or doubt, someone who shapes life on their own terms. The mind is a battlefield where the war for your destiny is fought. Your thoughts are either the architects of your freedom or the jailers of your potential. Choose to be the architect. Every thought aligned with your vision builds the foundation for a new reality. Every thought rooted in limitation strengthens the walls of confinement. Awareness of this power demands radical responsibility. No longer can you afford to be a passive observer of your internal dialogue. You must become the vigilant guardian of your mind, intercepting destructive patterns and replacing them with affirmations of strength, resilience, and possibility. This mental mastery ignites a chain reaction, transforming your emotions, behaviors, and ultimately your reality. The path to greatness is paved with relentless discipline. It is easy to be motivated when conditions are favorable, but true transformation demands consistency when no one is watching. It requires the discipline to show up daily, even when energy wanes and enthusiasm falters. This discipline is a declaration of self-respect. It tells the world, and more importantly yourself, that your dreams are worth fighting for. Each disciplined action compounds, weaving an unbreakable thread of progress that carries you beyond what you once thought possible. Discipline turns intention into habit, habit into character, and character into legacy. To embody your highest self, you must also cultivate patience. Transformation is a process, not an event. The seeds you plant today may not bloom tomorrow, but with patience, they will blossom. Impatience breeds frustration and doubt, while patience nurtures faith and perseverance. Trust the timing of your growth, even when it feels slow or invisible. Every moment of waiting is an act of courage and strength. This trust allows you to surrender control without surrendering your dreams. It keeps your heart open and your spirit resilient. Your greatest power is found in the union of fierce action and gentle trust. Act boldly, without hesitation, fueled by clarity and conviction. Simultaneously hold space for the unknown, the unfolding mystery that accompanies all profound change. This balance is the secret to unstoppable progress. It transforms fear into fuel, resistance into rhythm, and struggle into strength. When you live in this harmony, you become unstoppable. You rise beyond limits, beyond doubt, beyond fear. You step fully into the life you were always meant to live, powerful, purposeful, and free. Your true power awakens when you stop seeking approval and start claiming your worth. The moment you realize that validation from others is a fleeting shadow, you free yourself from the chains that have held you captive. Your value is not determined by external voices but by the unwavering truth you hold within. This realization is a seismic shift in consciousness, one that breaks the cycle of dependence and empowers you to stand tall in your authenticity. No longer will you bend to fit molds that were never meant for you. Instead, you will craft a life rooted in self-respect, anchored by the knowledge that your essence alone is enough. To walk this path requires ruthless honesty with yourself. You must confront the uncomfortable truths you have been avoiding, the doubts, the fears, the habits that sabotage your progress. This is not a moment for weakness but for fierce clarity. Only by shining light on these shadows can you dismantle them. Each truth faced is a brick removed from the wall that separates you from your freedom. There is no growth in denial, no transformation in evasion. Embrace your reality without judgment, and then wield that truth as a weapon against complacency. This courage to be brutally honest with yourself is the gateway to profound change. You must cultivate an unshakable belief in your capacity to overcome. Doubt is natural, but it must never become the voice that dictates your destiny. Replace hesitation with conviction. The mind, when fueled by belief, becomes an unstoppable force that carves paths where none existed. Belief is not blind faith. It is a deliberate choice to focus on possibility rather than limitation. It demands repetition, reinforcement, and unwavering commitment. This belief will shield you from the noise of negativity and the pull of despair. It is the foundation on which all achievement is built. Without it, even the greatest efforts falter. With it, mountains crumble. Action must follow belief with relentless intensity. Dreams do not manifest through wishful thinking but through deliberate, consistent effort. This effort is not always glamorous or easy. It is often marked by sacrifice, discipline, and relentless persistence. Yet, it is in these moments of grinding work, when no one is watching, that your character is forged. Let every action be purposeful, a testament to your dedication to the life you envision. Do not wait for motivation to strike, create it through motion. Action feeds momentum, and momentum breaks inertia. The smallest step taken with intent can ignite a wildfire of progress. You must learn to guard your mind fiercely, protecting it from toxic influences and limiting beliefs that seek to diminish your light. What you consume mentally, through thoughts, conversations, and environments, either nourishes your growth or stunts it. Choose to feed your mind with ideas that elevate, empower, and expand your vision. Be vigilant against negativity disguised as realism. Realism that shrinks your potential is a lie. Surround yourself with influences that challenge you to rise, that inspire courage, and that demand excellence. This mental ecosystem is your sanctuary and your launchpad. Every obstacle is an opportunity disguised as a challenge. Do not shrink from difficulty, step into it with eyes wide open and heart unyielding. Your response to adversity defines your trajectory far more than the adversity itself. Choose resilience, choose growth, choose to transform pain into power. This choice is yours every moment, every day. It is the essence of living boldly, fully, and without apology. When you own this power, you become the unstoppable force you were destined to be. True transformation demands a relentless commitment to self-mastery. It begins with the refusal to be a victim of circumstance, and instead choosing to become the architect of your own life. Every thought you harbor, every emotion you entertain is a brushstroke on the canvas of your existence. Take control of this inner world with fierce intentionality. When you master your mind, you master your reality. This is the core principle that separates those who drift through life from those who seize it with unyielding authority. You are not here to be passive. You are here to lead yourself into greatness, to rise above the mediocrity that suffocates dreams, and to ignite the fire that burns within your soul. Harness the power of discipline, for it is the backbone of all extraordinary achievement. Discipline is not a punishment, it is a declaration of your worth and your vision. It is the silent force that keeps you pushing forward when motivation fades and distractions tempt you to quit. Every disciplined action is a brick laid in the foundation of your future success. This strength does not come from fleeting feelings, but from a deep, unwavering commitment to your highest self. Discipline sharpens your focus, fuels your persistence, and turns intention into reality. It is the bridge between desire and accomplishment, the mechanism through which dreams crystallize into tangible outcomes. You must become comfortable with discomfort because growth never blooms in the garden of ease. The edges of your comfort zone are where transformation lives. Pain, struggle, and resistance are not enemies but signposts guiding you toward the life you were meant to live. When you embrace discomfort, you step into a powerful state of expansion. You learn resilience, adaptability, and courage. Each challenge you face and overcome strengthens your mental and emotional muscles, preparing you for greater battles ahead. This relentless pursuit of growth demands that you welcome the unknown and the difficult with open arms, knowing that your breakthrough lies just beyond the threshold of fear. Surround yourself with unshakable optimism rooted in reality. Optimism is not naive hope. It is a strategic mindset that fuels persistence despite setbacks. It is the lens through which you view obstacles as opportunities, failure as feedback, and setbacks as setups for a greater comeback. This mindset rewires your brain to focus on solutions rather than problems, action rather than inertia. Optimism ignites your spirit and keeps the flame of possibility alive even in the darkest moments. Cultivate this mindset daily, for it is the mental oxygen that sustains your journey when the road is long and the burden heavy. The final force in this inner revolution is gratitude, a profound recognition of your current blessings coupled with a hunger for more. Gratitude aligns your energy with abundance, shifting your focus from scarcity to possibility. It grounds you in the present while propelling you toward your future.